Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about layering bass lines and some cool things I've discovered while working on a few more tracks and a few things that I've started to do in my own bass lines. So we'll look at one of those examples and a bit more of a complex example there. But I'll go through some of the little tips you can use to make your bass lines stand out and to make them just in general better and have a bit more quality to them than you would make by just having a saw wave with a filter on it. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Alright, so I'll play you my kick and bass here. Now this is in a track that I'm working on. So you can see here, there's the whole project. And if you know the way I work, you also know that I already mastered this. So there's a master channel on here that is doing a bit of work. But there's also a lot of cool sounds and just kind of the gluing and stuff is happening on the bass line itself as well, and just in the processing of the kick and the bass. I'm mainly going to go over the bass as the kick is not that interesting. As you can see, just a very bit of processing here. We have some stereo generator that helps in the intro to kind of give it a little bit of a reverb effect, and then there's filtering and volume, and then the kick is just a process sample, as you can see here, a consolidated sample. Which is the way I like to work. My kicks are generally very simple and I don't spend a lot of time to it, and I try to get more character out of the bass instead to really get my own unique tones. So here's what I've created. So you can hear we have a very nice stereo bass line here, and that's all to do with layering and the way we layer. So it's often the case that I see what people do is when they layer, in that they don't really think about what the layer is doing and what the layer should be contributing to the most. So, for example, here we have a few layers. Let's just go through the patch. We have my standard offbeat part of the bass line, which consists out of two patches, and the onbeat one. So this is just my basic starter bassline patch, which I've shown off before. With the first harmonic removed. So if you go here, you can set this volume and just remove it completely. That way you get a waveform that looks like this. And then it just goes through the volume and the filter and a compressor that doesn't really do anything, especially not when that first harmonic is removed. So it's a very basic patch, and then that goes through my basic kind of chain that I've set up for this patch and that I always use. So there's not really a lot happening here, and if you listen to it, it's just a very simple bass line here playing. The fun part starts with the second one here. Again, what I've done is I've taken a very simple bass line, but you can see the waveform is already different from a normal saw wave. So if we look at it, you can see that the second harmonic is actually missing. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to get a more cleaner second harmonic sound, because that's the sound that I've been hearing a lot in other tracks, and I really enjoy that sound where the second harmonic is a lot cleaner than any of the other sounds coming through. So what I decided to do is I just decided to split it up into the second harmonic here that I can process individually, and it's not going through the distortion and the compression that the other harmonics go through. So you can see this is one octave up and it's playing the same MIDI patch as that one above. And those two together are forming our main like offbeat bass line. So let's just listen to those two. And now I'll remove this. So you can hear we have a very nice stable second harmonic, and that's really useful. You have a lot of control over it, and you could even go further if you really wanted to. What you could do is you could do the first three harmonics if you really want to go crazy, or the first four, and just kind of split them up in a patch like that. Or maybe you want to separate sub-bass and affect that in a different way. What you see is what I've done basically is taken something out of processing. So here we have some processing, and I decided to take it out and instead have that go through its own layer where I'm actually not doing anything. So that just kind of simplifies it for that particular harmonic and leaves it cleaner going into whatever I'm doing here, which is just a bit of saturation, stereo processing for our stereo layer, some distortion, a limiting, and a filter. So nothing really crazy going on here. What's really making this sound is the layer. So now let's talk about the most interesting layer, which is the one that I added last, which is the stereo layer. So what I often see people do is when they make stereo layers for their bassline is that they take a normal Sartans bassline, so a saw wave playing at a very low octave and which has that little plug on it, which you should all be familiar with just a filter on top of it. And then they make it stereo. But what happens then is you almost always are removing some of the click from that bassline. And that's because what happens is you have your left and your right channel, and those are going to go through your filter, and then they're going to get separated. So there's a little difference introduced in that click, and that's really going to mess up the kind of tone that you want from your click. But in this case, something you can do with Phaseband is you can actually make stuff stereo before it goes into your final filter. So here, that's what we're doing. As you can see, we have a very distorted waveform here with a lot of spread in it. And that's then going through our main filter here. And there's also a high pass filter to make it not clash with what we had before. And then we also have the attack and decay controls just here, filtering out this filter cutoff here. So what happens is it becomes stereo before it goes into the filter. So the filter is acting on a stereo signal. And therefore the kind of click and the kind of tone that you get is much more stable because it's not being shifted after that. There is no change being introduced after it goes through the filter, giving you a lot nicer, cleaner bass sound in the end. So those are all layers combined. And finally here, what we're doing is this layer is acting on both the on-beat one and the off-beat one. So to help there, we added a little LFO tool to kind of give it the kind of sidechain feeling that we want. And finally, we go through some loudness, making it a little bit louder. So this is just a saturator trying to beef up the sub bass a little bit, trying to beef up the mid-range a lot, as you can see. And the more we go higher, you can see there's more gain in it, so it's more distorted, but the output is going down. And in this case, I went down a little bit on the extra high click. So these settings kind of come along over a long time. It's not that I just dialed in these settings or that these settings might work for you. I've played a lot with this saturator, and I think you should do so the same anytime you process something as important as your bassline. It's normally never just a matter of throwing in the plugin, opening it up, dialing in the settings that you want for that particular plugin, and then closing it out, never to look at it again. You often backtrack on those ideas, and you often maybe add a different element that works differently for your bassline, and therefore have to maybe go back in and play around a little bit with how you've set it up or stuff like that. So there's a lot that comes to actually, you know, creating the kind of tones that I got out of here, and these settings that I'm showing off here, the different ones that I'm working with, will probably not work for you. So keep that in mind and make sure that whatever you do, you check it with multiple systems. You check if it works with the lead sounds that you have, with the other elements that you have in your track. And you just make sure that whatever you're doing in your track actually works for your track. So what I've shown off here is just kind of to get you inspired and to show off some of the tricks that you can do to make your bassline more interesting and to layer in such a way that actually might help you to get better bassline sounds out of it. This is just something that I've started doing, especially the second harmonic trick. I really like that. I really like the kind of tone that it brings to you and the amount of control that it gives to you. Again, this might not be for everybody. The kind of sidetones that I make obviously really has that kind of tone to it, and there might be like Dark Side or Forest that really don't want this. So don't think just because I do something or just because you saw something in the tutorial that you have to apply it. You have to take those techniques that you see in whatever video you're watching, and you have to make them work for you. So instead of trying to spend a lot of time bending the techniques that I have just shown you and throwing that into your own way of working, instead try to come up with like a few techniques that you can use for every type of sound to create a sound that works for your style of music and for your genre. So yeah, I hope these tips help. I hope you can do something with this. If you enjoyed these tips and you would like to help the channel out, you can do so by leaving a like or sharing the video. If you're new here and you just came because somebody shared the video with you, thanks for doing so. Thanks for checking out my channel, and thanks for sticking till the end. If you like what you see and you want to see more, subscribe. I try to put out at least a video every 3 days now. I'm a little bit down on my schedule. Usually I'll do every 2 days or sometimes even daily uploads. But I'm a little bit busy right now with also university and stuff like that. So I have to tone down a little bit on my video output. But I also stream. If you don't know, I also stream on Twitch, which there's a link down below. I will stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 4 to 8 Central European time, which is the current schedule. But again, that's right now. And once I get into lessons in university, which start in October, that might change. So if you're interested in that, also go there and follow there. But that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed and hope to see you next time. Bye bye.